Now check out these states that have implemented laws to stop this insanity. Do you live in one of these states?
There are a lot of concerns about men.
Because she knows that if she says the wrong word, she loses everything too. Here's Riley Gaines, but check out how she felt to stand next to Thomas. Spoiler alert, used to be not a girl.
Official looks at me and Leah, we're about this far apart, and he says,
"Howdy y'all, I'm Brylan." So check this out. A Christian school got barred from sporting events after the girls team refused to play against a male. So guess what? Give in, submit, or you will be deleted. Hey, I just want to say real quick, we got some of our new merch out right now. This is one of my favorite shirts, Read the Bible. If you want to support this channel, you can check out the link below. It says shop our merch. Hey, would you mind hitting that subscribe button and being a part of this community with us? I would love to hear from you on a regular basis. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up button, you know, when you like this video, YouTube will push it out to more people, and it would really help spread this message. Yeah, that's where we're at today. You know, a lot of people have said for many years, it will never get here. It's just about tolerance. Well, surprise, it got here. You know, this type of story is ramping up. You're seeing this type of thing all over the news now because it's happening everywhere. It's running rampant. Here's just one example. I did a video on this as well. But this Christian teacher in Southern California got fired over her stance on gender, and they fired her because she was a Christian. And this, of course, this one as well. School district rejects student teachers from Arizona Christian University due to their biblical values, even though they've been doing this for 11 years. This year, though, those biblical values, they really, they're really bigotry, but, you know, whatever. And, you know, you can check out my channel to see tons more stories like this. Now, check out some of the details of this story. And this should, honestly, this should make you righteously angry. This should give you righteous anger. This should really wake you up to see that this isn't going away. You can no longer just stand back behind the curtain and go, if I just don't come out, if I don't say anything, if I just stand here and remain silent, they'll ignore me. It won't affect me. Yes, it will affect you. I'm here to tell you that you will not be able to remain silent forever. It doesn't work that way. We gave an inch and they are taking mile upon mile upon mile. But check this out. A Christian high school in Vermont that forfeited a girls' basketball game because the opposing team had a biological male player has been suspended from participating in future athletic events. So this team of girls decided, hey, you know what? There's a guy on the other team. This isn't fair. He's probably towers over all of them. You know how women's rights really means allowing men to be the real women? Yeah, that's what it's turned into. And it's hilarious to see these libs sit here and try to explain it all away as this is what true rights stand for. Women, stop submitting to men and submit to us. And in return, we're going to make you submit to men. So now these young girls no longer get to participate in sports because they aren't giving into the depravity. And you know what? I'm going to show you too. Check this out. I'm going to show you a video right here of Riley Gaines explaining how it felt to be next to Leah Thomas when she got the trophy, when she tied Leah Thomas, which is this person right here. Spoiler alert, used to be not a girl. So Leah Thomas got the trophy, got the whole picture event, and got the front row seat of victory, even though this dude just barely was able to tie Riley Gaines over here. But they pushed Riley aside, and you're going to see her video of her explaining how that felt to happen in person. And then also this video right here is going to blow you away. You don't want to miss this video. Okay, now check this out. They're saying this is why this is all happening. VPA said that MVCS decision to forfeit the game in late February goes against the association's policies, specifically their commitment to gender fair and disability awareness. Look at how they're lumping in somebody with a legitimate disability with somebody who just goes, I am the opposite of the way I was created. You must bow to me. This is so offensive to even have these lumped together, but to have these teams of young girls not be able to stand up and say, this makes us uncomfortable. No, you don't get to have an opinion. You don't get to feel any way that we don't deem necessary. You don't get to feel unless we tell you to feel and how to feel and what to feel. Yeah, sounds like a real progression to me for women's rights, right? And then check out this doozy here. VPA's policies document states that the association and its member schools must support an environment in our activities and programs that promotes respect for and appreciation. Okay? Do you see this word here? Not just a respect, but an appreciation of gender and SO. You must appreciate it and you must respect it. And the thing is what's funny is that these young women are being disrespected for being young women. It's so backwards. None of this makes sense. And the Bible tells us that none of this is going to make sense, but people are going to just go crazy in the last days. I want to show you this real quick too before I show you these other videos. You know, more and more schools and states are starting to implement these type of things where they're allowing biological males to participate in women's sports. And it's really starting to ruin sport. You know, the NFL, the MLB, NBA, you know, all these sports that we all love and pay billions and billions of dollars every year to go towards the social justice insanity. All these professional sports leagues are super woke. I mean, they're all this billions of dollars that we're pouring into these leagues for entertainment. Entertain me is just going right back into setting up all this narrative to ruin the very sport that you're paying to watch. Now, you are seeing some states step up and actually do something to stand against this depravity. Now, check out these states that have implemented laws to stop this insanity. Do you live in one of these states? Currently, 18 states require athletes to compete on sports teams that correspond with their biological sex rather than their stated gender identity. Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Idaho, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and West Virginia. Do you live in any of these states? Well, if you do, then thankfully you live in a state that requires sanity when it comes to sports, at least. Here's Riley Gaines, a fantastic swimmer that her whole life was swimming. She did everything she could to become the best swimmer she possibly could, and the year that she got the chance to prove herself, to win the very title that she was working toward, her entire swimming career was basically stolen from her because the NCAA allowed a male to swim against the females here. And of course, what do you think happened? Actually, Leah Thomas didn't outright win. It was a tie, which just shows how insanely good Riley is. But check out how she felt to stand next to Thomas after tying.
Official looks at me and Leah. We're about this far apart, and he says, "Great job. You guys tied. Leah gets the trophy." And so I look at him and I say, "Okay, I understand we tied, and I understand there's one trophy, but what's your thought process as to why Leah gets the trophy?" And he said, well, for photo purposes, Leah has to have the trophy. So you can pose with this one, but you go home empty-handed. Leah takes the trophy. Of course,
Wow.
I knew what was happening was wrong, or the disadvantage that we were at. And I knew what was happening in regards to the locker room, being forced to undress in front of a fully intact biological male. I knew that was wrong. But when the NCAA reduced everything that I had dedicated my entire life to, I've been swimming since I was 4 years old. Everything that I have dedicated my entire life to, I was reduced to a photo op to validate the identity of a male. And that's when I decided to take a public stance.
Wow, do you hear that? So that's when this happened. That's when she had to stand here and be forced to basically submit to a photo op to validate this one person over every female at this swimming event. This person had to be validated for what? This is all about catering to one side, to one type of person. And I'm telling you, it's going to catch up to you. This poor woman's entire swimming career basically just ruined. But of course, you have all these college students that are going to be indoctrinated in these school systems that are literally, again, you can go check out my channel and see all these videos of these school systems indoctrinating our children, but no big deal, right? It won't affect my child. It won't affect me. Yes, it will. Stop thinking that. Take a look at this video of this college student virtue signaling on behalf of all athletes everywhere, though clearly she is not an athlete herself.
There are a lot of concerns about men.
Okay, I want you to notice something real quick there. Did you see how she had a hard time even just saying the word men? Because she knows that if she says the wrong word, she loses everything too.
Men performing in women's sports, and I am here as a young woman of color who is in her senior year of college. We're not worried about that. I'm not worried about that.
Oh, okay, so we're not worried about that.
It's the truth. We're not.
So that video showed Thursday Williams today at a Senator Judiciary hearing for the Equal Rights Amendment. Let me give you all the background information you need on Thursday. She's not and never was a collegiate athlete. So her saying we are not worried about men competing against women is disingenuous and displays her utter disregard for female athletes and really women in general. Why don't you ask me, an actual collegiate female athlete who has experience competing against a male, how I and my teammates and athletes around the country felt about giving up our awards and our titles and our scholarships to men? We were the ones who worked our whole lives to be able to compete at the highest level. We were the ones who practiced day in and day out, making physical, mental, and social sacrifices. Ask us about our experience on losing out on opportunities. Ask us about having to share a locker room with a biological male who was fully exposed and fully intact with male genitalia. Ask us about the silencing that we dealt with from our universities and the NCAA in order to suppress our voices, because we had to be kind and inclusive to affirm a male's identity of himself at the expense of our own mental health and our own safety and our own fairness.
She makes a great point. Why don't you ask the athlete? It's because they're not going to get the answer that they want. Now, okay. You know what? If you think that this is just something that only happens here and there every now and then, no, it isn't. You have the very top positions of our betters, our moral betters, that in our legal system telling us that we must submit or face the consequences. It's not just about acceptance, it's about celebrating. It's not just about morality, this is a legal issue. The Bible says that it's going to get really bad. People are going to be really, really evil, in that we're going to have to invent evil because the evil that we're doing isn't evil enough anymore, and we're going to have to make up more evil so that we can be more evil. I mean, it's just, and it talks about the debasement of women and men and how we're going to do exactly what's going on in our society today. But look at John chapter 8. It says in verse 44, "You are of your father the devil, and your will is to do your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in truth, because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks out of his own character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. But because I tell you the truth, you do not believe me. You see these key words here? Jesus said, because I tell you the truth, you do not believe me. So Jesus is telling the truth here, and that's what's causing them to not believe him, because they don't want to hear the truth, because it convicts them, it confronts them, and they hate that. In fact, look at verse 46. Which one of you convicts me of sin? If I tell the truth, why do you not believe me? Whoever is of God hears the words of God. The reason why you do not hear them is that you are not of God. But hey, let me know your thoughts about all this in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. Are you going to give into this insanity, or will you finally take a stand? And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and be a part of this community. I'd love to hear from you on a regular basis. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up button as well, when you like this video, it'll get pushed out to more people, and it would really help spread this message. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.